Okay, this question comes from Math 155. This is 6.7, number 87. And it says, determine the equation of the line. Find an equation. Well, remember, in class, when I said find an equation, when you see those words or any type representation of those words, determine the equation, find the equation, you're going to use the point slope equation. And the point slope equation uses the point and a slope. So in order to use the point slope equation, you have to have a point and a slope. Well, first of all, let's look at our graph. They have 3 points here. So we're going to use 2 of them to find the slope, because we got to have the slope before, and we got points, so we got to have the slope. We got to calculate the slope. And to calculate the slope, m is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And let's go ahead and get our points. It doesn't matter which ones you pick. I'm going to pick this point right here and this point right here. This point right here is 0 in the x direction and 5 in the y direction. 0, 5. This point is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the x direction and 1 in the y direction. So there's our points. 0, 5, 5, 1. So we read from left to right. This is x sub 1, this is y sub 1, this is x sub 2, this is y sub 2. Plug and chug. M is equal to parentheses minus parentheses over parentheses minus parentheses. And plug and chug. 1 minus 5 over 5 minus 0. And that's going to be equal to 1 minus 5 is negative 4. And 5 minus 0 is 5. So our slope is equal to 4/5. Now, that's the first part of the point slope equation. You got to calculate the slope. The second part of the point slope equation is to take the point and the slope and change it into, or work it into the equation. All of it comes from this formula right here. If you solve for y, you will get the point slope equation. So anyway, y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1. And we're going to use it with slope equals negative 4/5 and a point of 0, 5. Now, you could have picked any point, but I picked 0, 5 because it's smaller numbers. The next point I would pick would be 5, 1. If you notice, I didn't mess with this point too much, and that's because it's negative and positive, and you have a negative in there, and some of you might cringe working with negatives, but it would work either way if you do everything like you're supposed to. So this is our x sub 1 and this is our y sub 1. Plug and chug. Y minus parentheses equals parentheses times x minus parentheses, and I plug in my 5 here, and I plug in my negative 4/5 here, and I plug in my 0 here, and I get y minus 5 is equal to negative 4/5 x minus plus 0, because that negative times that 0 is 0. And then I bring this 5 over across the river, and my final answer is y is equal to negative 4/5 x plus 5. And I hope that helps.